What's up, everybody? It's Dynasty Mir, Search for Uhuru. Welcome back once again. And I have the brother Top 10 Africa on with us this afternoon. And today's topic is Africa is the best option for Africans. And that goes along or in line with the Africa for the Africans movement. And Negropeans are the enemy. Now, Top 10, let's start off with this.
Yeah.
If you can, for everybody in the who's watching and who will watch this later on, can you define what a Negropean is?
Yeah, basically a Negropean is a African descended person that seeks to integrate into European society, wants to be accepted, wants to be liked, wants to be part of the system, European system, and so he is more or less aligned with the European way of doing things, whether it's in the way they politics, business, culture. He's more or less a European in black skin.
Okay, but why are Europeans so dangerous? I mean, Negropeans so dangerous? Like why? Like in your opinion?
Okay, my opinion. If you look at all the problems black people have had, it's always been the sellout. You know, the guy who wanted to be accepted by Europeans. That going back to slavery, the guys that were willing to work with the white man, they were willing to do the white man's bidding, all the way up until this present day, where you have dictators that are basically puppets. We used to have lots of dictators that were puppets for the Europeans. And so basically, their loyalty is not to black people. Their loyalty is to try to integrate into European society, right? And
Right.
to try to be accepted by the European. That is more important to them than black people or the plight of black people. So that's why they're so dangerous.
But why do you think that's more important to them than focusing on Africa, building up Africa, putting having a black first mentality? Why do you think the opposite is so important to them?
Well, many of them have a lot of self-hate, or many of them have an inferiority complex, and many of them are just simply selfish. They're just out for themselves. They're ready to burn the whole house down just for them to, have some semblance of, they're greedy and selfish. They want the white man's shiny things, and they don't mind destroying the whole community to get that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes them so dangerous. Many of them have a lot of self-hate. Many of them have an inferiority complex. They idolize white people, and so they make these kind of irrational, stupid decisions just to be liked by white people.
Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Please hit that like button as you come in. Again, guys, thank you so much for yes, I will be in Nigeria on next Sunday eating a bunch of jollof. I'm sorry, I leave Sunday, so I won't be there to that Monday. But when I'm telling you, the minute I land, I will be grabbing some jollof, some night, because I've never had Nigerian jollof in Nigeria, because the American version, I think they be cutting corners around here. I don't know why. Like the American version, they the Nigerians that make it here in America, they be leaving ingredients out, trying to save some money. So yeah, me plenty of suya, all that. I'm gonna be tearing it up.
You definitely should try some suya. If you're gonna try anything in Nigeria, definitely get you some suya.
Well, I've had the suya here in Atlanta, but I'm pretty sure it's way. Of course, Riley, you already look. I got the cameras on deck. Hold on. You know, I upgraded, got the Sony A7R Mark III. So guys, I'm ready. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna be I'm gonna be on deck. I'm ready. Got the lenses, got everything to go. So I will be shooting like crazy. It's just it depends on the Wi-Fi speed in regards to how soon I'm gonna be uploading to YouTube. But guys, if you're not following me on Facebook or Instagram, you need to go search for Uhuru on Facebook and Instagram. Make sure you guys go and like and follow and all that good stuff because I'm gonna be more active there. I'm gonna try my hardest to do live videos from Niger. Just again, it depends on it just depends on the internet situation. That's all. It just depends on the internet. But but okay, so top 10 Africa, and I was gonna do a video on this, on
Yeah.
how and Negropeans they fall in this category, or what I'm about to say. Africans, Africans of people of African descent, we have a sellout culture that started
Exactly.
back from slavery. Why is that? I mean, why can't we get rid and change this sellout culture?
Like I said, it goes back to one, an inferiority complex. You
Mm-hmm.
know, even look at America. You know, you have black people. I'll tell you like, oh, I got some Indian in me, or I got some white in me. Or you go to Dominican Republic, where a black guy will tell you that he's not African. Like it's an inferiority complex that a lot of black people have. Number one. Number two, it's greed. You know, the white man dangles some 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 trinkets in your face, and it's ignorance and greed. The white man dangles some trinkets in your face, and you're very quick to sell out your brother. Where's the racial pride? And that's one thing that we have to work on: racial pride, black first, and African first. Like you go to even South Africa, right? And then they refer to other Africans as Africans, like in a pejorative kind of way. Like these are like they think that because their country is kind of developed, that they're better than the other Africans, and so this is kind of like the low self-esteem, low inferiority complex that exists because I think a lot of the stuff that people have is coming from the West, a lot of whatever stuff. And so if you perceive wealth as being associated with white, and you perceive poverty as being associated with black, you definitely going to be trying to associate yourself with white. But what they don't really understand is Africa has a very rich culture and tradition as well. So that's where it stems from.
Hmm. So, what needs to be in place? What do we need to be put in place so we can stop this? Because there's no punishment mechanisms in place where we can stop this sellout culture. Like, what do we need to do?
The sellout culture. It just starts with you as an individual, and you and your family and your circle, and you have to try to educate the people around you, and you know try to kind of they have utilize the media to program people to be black. African Americans used to have this saying, "I'm black and I'm proud," right?
Right.
That was James Brown. I'm black and I'm proud. Like stuff like that, using the media and the content, the musicians, they have so much power. And if you can get them to promote that message, I remember in the 70s where there was like tons of black power symbology, like the raised fist, the Black Panthers, being black and proud, the afros. Everybody was wearing an afro back then, right? And it was all because of the media, like all these musicians, projecting a positive image of black people and a positive identity, and everybody gets on board. And we got to use the media to preach black first, to raise the consciousness of the people.
Shout out to Mawale Banjowo for the super chat. I agree 100%. Malcolm X, Thomas Sankara, Nat Turner are a few examples of Africans selling other Africans out. No. Yeah, exactly. No, you're right. You're right. They are a bigger threat than outside forces, Europeans, Arabs, etc. Unity is the only way. Now, top 10, we place a lot of blame on white people in regards to the condition of Africa. But for example, Thomas Sankara, it was a black man that killed Thomas Sankara.
Yeah,
Patrice Lumumba, it was a black man that killed Patrice
exactly.
Lumumba. Malcolm X, black man. A
Yeah,
lot of our leaders, it was all black
kills.
men who killed him, except for
Exactly.
minus MLK and a couple people, but a lot of it was by the hands of black people. How? I mean, should we be calling out white supremacy when it comes to this, or do we need to fix what's like we need to fix our house first?
Well, it is white supremacy because a lot of these Negropeans are just basically agents of white supremacy. Even in the case of Malcolm X, I heard like the FBI was probably involved in that. Like those guys were probably informants. You know, we need to, like I said, we need to condemn Negropeans. If we condemn them and make it uncool to be a Negropean, that's like a first step. At the same time, we need to praise the truth of people like Malcolm X, the people of Thomas Sankara. We need to praise them. We need to prop up their names so that the little kids coming up will see, okay, there's nothing cool about being a Negropean,
Right.
and there's everything cool about standing up for your people. Our heroes cannot be Negropeans. We must condemn them. We must demonize them. We must condemn and demonize Negropeans.
Because right now, like it's sexy. Like if you want to get in the media and get a show and you have to be a Negropean, and I think that's the issue. Like we don't have anything in place. All right, let me ask you this, Top 10 Africa. People sometimes make excuses for selling out because black people haven't built up any type of infrastructure where if they didn't sell out, they'll be rewarded. Is that a should you be able to leverage that type of excuse in regards to selling out? Well, I have to sell out because I have to feed my family, or I have to sell out because black people we don't have an infrastructure where I'll be rewarded if I have a black first identity. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
I feel like there's absolutely no reason why you should sell out. It's like if you look at it, there are actually more black people than there are white people on this planet.
Mm.
And Africa is a continent. It's a continent with every resource you can imagine. I mean, you've been there, Diners.
Yep,
You,
I'll be back. Can't wait. In
yeah,
eight days, I'll leave. 8 days. I can't wait.
and all these kind of, it's just these Negropeans are just real lazy, and they looking for the fastest thing out, the
Mm-hmm.
fastest way out. So so the white man comes and throws up some trinkets, and like they jump on that. Like if you just did a little bit of investment, a little bit of work, you know, even in the diaspora, you don't have to be a sellout to take care of your people.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can, there's so much. We should stop limiting ourselves to America. I mean, America is great. It's rich. I respect Americans. I respect their work ethic. But I just feel like there's so much more to the world than just America. And a lot of people don't understand that.
Hmm. Hey, Admiral Medjay. So as far as the sound goes, look, I went and got me a little mini boom mic. Okay, I'm gonna actually use it. All right, it's like a light I could put on top of it for lighting, but I just gotta find a little part for it that I'm missing. So guys, the money you guys super chat me with, I've been reinvesting it in decent equipment. So when I travel, I can actually document more. So I have a little mic. I'm gonna use it. I'll cut down on the wind. So here we go. So bam. I just gotta find. I can't find a little part for it. I misplaced it, but I'm getting it together, you guys. I'm getting it together, so you guys won't be cussing me out when it comes to the footage. But shout out to Travis Irwin for the super chat. Now, Duke, thank you so much. Information Show, what's up, brother? Thank you so much. Spectre from Salem Town, thank you, brother. Looking forward to it. Yeah, I appreciate the super chats. No Dupe, I know you super chatted as well. Hold on, where's the Dupe at? Please give me the link to this guy's channel. I cannot find it by searching Top 10 Africa. How do we find you real quick? Top 10 Africa. How do we find your page?
Top 10 Africa. You just have to type it into Google.
Well, do this. Can you type it into the chat?
Or I could just put my link.
Do me a favor. Email me your link right now. Email it to me, and I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, let me see how this is going to work. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I'm right here. Go ahead.
All right, let me send you an email real quick.
Email me your link so I can put it in the chat.
All right.
Yeah, shout out to Amir Ra. Amir Ra says you sell out so you can live. I mean, should we? A lot of people will accept that excuse, like, oh well, the brother got to eat, man. He got to feed his family, so he had to sell out. Like, I mean, what?
We have a continent, so why? If you have a continent, I mean, you can grow whatever. We got to just do the work. We have to start feeding ourselves. We have to start farming. We have to start developing our own institutions. And we can't just say, oh, okay, I just need something quick, so I'm just going to just sell out. We can't do that. We cannot afford to do that.
Hold on. I'm reading somebody's chat. I mean, Bibi Van Dierveen. I have all in my bus or in my business. My work as a teacher is to teach and love all Black and white. I also teach and demonstrate racial reconciliation with my marriage of more than 25 years to white women from Queens, New York. I'm confused. I'm lost, but we'll keep it pushing. So let's get to the Africa is the best option for Africans. Now, I know Top 10 Africa, you've been following this migrant crisis as far as our African brothers and sisters trying to get to Europe and dying. I mean, why would an African leave Africa to go to Italy and risk their life?
Because
I mean, what am I missing? Because I've been to the country. I've been to 11 countries so far, and I just haven't seen it. Now, I'm not going to say there isn't. I still think some of the places in America are worse as far as poverty. I mean, there are some areas that are suspect, but not suspect to the point where a person should risk their life to get to Europe. I mean, what's going on with that Top 10?
You see, here's what's going on. So many of us are just very ignorant as Africans. I remember before I came to the United States, I used to think that America was like paradise. I used to think that there was no problems, there was no poverty, there was no inequality. But what I come to learn is that in many ways, America is worse. There's less land for Africans, there's less resources, there's less institutions to support us, and in many ways, you're giving up a lot. But we can't see that because what we see on TV as it relates to America is the glamour. We see the glamour, We see the Cosby Show. We see a lot of things that are not necessarily that don't necessarily have anything to do with anything. You know, you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And when the African shows up in Europe, he's looking for that. He's looking for. He's looking for. How do I put it? He's looking for that good life. He's looking for the good life, but he never gets it. He never is able to get it because Europe is not designed to give the African a good life.
Oh, hey, Top 10, repeat that again. And then I need you to go into detail on that.
Exactly. Europe is not designed to give the African a good life.
Why? Expand on that. Top 10, you there? Hello? Hello? All right. I think we lost the brother. Hopefully he'll hop back on here in a second. But everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you hit that like button as you enter the chat room. Again, everyone, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate the support. Everybody that super chatted, thank you so much for super chatting. I leave for Nigeria next Sunday, so not sure where I'm going to be staying is going to have, the best internet. So make sure you guys are following me on Instagram and Facebook, and that's search for Huru on Instagram and Facebook. So make sure you guys are following me there. Shout out to Chima Madu. Thank you, brother. Make sure you guys are following me there. Okay. So let's get a Top 10. You there? Hello? I don't know what happened to the brother. He dropped off. Hopefully he'll come back on here in a second. But guys, make sure you guys are following me on Instagram and Facebook, because I'll be posting. It'll be easier to post there. So I got Twitter too. Twitter as well. Admiral Medjay, at Dynasty, it ain't much. Hey, it all counts. It all goes to the Dynasty Mir Ministries, the Search for Huru Ministries. So I appreciate it, brother. At Dynasty, it ain't much, but I hope it'll help you upgrade material. I upgraded. I'm telling you, I got the new camera. I got some faster SD cards. They're in here. Got some faster SD cards. Got the new camera, upgraded the Sony A7R III, so everything will be shot in 4K. I got the little mic. Got a better mic. I already broke it, but I have to get just another band piece for this. Is another screw that I'm missing. So I'm getting my life together. I'm getting my life together, Admiral. I'm getting my life together. All right, let's give this brother some time to get back on. Make sure he's okay. Nah, dude, thank you so much. Ask Tamir Rice, Philando Castile, Alton Sterling, Trayvon Martin, Sandra Bland, etc., about racial reconciliation. Bell Bagay, stopping by to give you support. Can't stay. Love you, bro. Love you too. Thank you so much. Are you coming next Sunday, Bell? Next Saturday. Are you coming next Saturday to the meetup? Are you coming next Saturday, Bell? Let me know. Horror House, the Voodoo Festivals every January 10th in Ouida Beni. January 10th in Ouida Beni. January 10th. Hope this brother hops back on. We have much more to discuss. Let me send him an email real quick. Here we go.
Hello?
Okay, yeah, we have lost you. We thought you got kidnapped by some aliens.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah. All right, cool. So the brother's back on. We got nervous. Hey, is echoing again too.
Is that correct?
Test. Yeah, it's echoing again.
All right, I'm gonna reconnect.
Okay, reconnect, please, so we can get this back cracking. Candace Addison, Amira, how is it rap music's fault? You sound like one of those Trump supporters who blame Obama for the condition of America. Please don't pass the buck. What? Now, dude, you're in Florida, aren't you? Now, dude, how do you feel about that new stand your ground case? A brother got killed for defending his lady. Brother got killed for defending his lady. That's wild. Top 10, you there?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Let's see, test. All right, we're good. Let's go. Let's get back to it. All right. So let me ask you this, top 10.
Yeah.
For Black Americans, is the only solution, because I know you've been keeping up what's been going on lately in the news as far as a Black man got killed in Florida for defending his lady.
Exactly. Yeah.
All this racial discrimination. Do you believe that for Black America, like my brother Amiral says, that for Black America, the only solution is to leave the U.S. and go back to Africa?
I think that going back to Africa and connecting with Africa is a very big part of the solution because there's a lot of resources they can tap into in Africa. There's a lot of human talent. There's a lot of educated people. There's a lot of business space there. There's a lot of professional space there. You come to America, and there's a saying that I picked up on in America that black people are the first one, the last one hired, and the first one fired. I know you heard. I know you heard that, right?
Oh, real quick. Everybody that's super chatted. Yes, I do. Do me a favor. I'm a Wale. Hold on. If you super chatted, I do. All right. Let me know if you want. I've been slacking on sending these out. Please forgive me. If I owe you one, please email me and tell me that I owe you one as well. For super chatting, let me know which postcard you want. I got the one with me and Kumasi with the Ashanti bodyguards, or me with the King of Olada. So let me know. I've been slacking. Yeah, let me know. All right, go ahead, brother. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I said, there's a saying that blacks are like the last to be hired and the first to be fired.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at a guy like Colin Kaepernick. This guy is making multi-million-dollars, but as soon as he speaks up for his people, they're like, "Oh, you can't play no more." So black people, we got to be independent. If you're independent economically, then there's nothing they can do to you. But as long as you're dependent economically, then you basically don't have to do what they tell you to do. And black Americans, they actually have like advantages in the sense that they have greater access to higher education and greater access to kind of knowledge and tools. And they should take advantage of that. And they should try to partner up with some Africans and see instead of instead of teasing Africans, instead of um, instead of kind of insulting them, you should reach out to them and see what you can do together. Because the rest of the world, they know what Africa is.
Mm-hmm.
Africa is a source of resources. It's not war, poverty, and disease.
Let me and you brought this up, the trinkets that Negropeans will sell out for. I mean, literally, right? During the slave trade, African chiefs were selling humans or trading humans as commodities for alcohol and rusty muskets. Why would we sell out so easily for, like you said, just trinkets for nothing? And the thing is, with all this that took place, top 10, Africa has nothing to show for it. In
Exactly.
fact, they lost out on a deal. The white people won. They got the better end of the bargain.
Exactly. They got a better end of the deal because they they were able to use the Africans to build America, to build Brazil, to build Colombia. All of these countries, it wouldn't exist. They generated massive amount of resources and wealth. And Africans, a lot of us, let's be frank, we're very ignorant. We're very ignorant of the world. We're very ignorant. And like I said, we have to demonize Negropeans.
Mm-hmm.
We have to demonize the culture of Negropeanism, and we have to promote Black pride. And when you promote Black pride and you praise your heroes, so the little kids get it that there's nothing cool about selling out to the white man.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, we got to support each other economically. We have to buy black. We have to use you look at what's going on in the continent. There's very little trade amongst African countries. And this is because of some ignorance. There's a lot of ignorance out there.
Right.
There's a
Let's
lot of
see.
ignorance out there. There's a lot of people that don't know what is going on in the next country. And, it's just a lot of ignorance. And we have to destroy this ignorance.
Amir Ross says modern Africa is far better than any average U.S. city. I can't attest to that. I definitely agree. And every time I go back, the cities are getting better in Africa, the major cities. Meanwhile, the cities here in America are declining.
Yeah.
Uh, why is that? What are your thoughts on that?
Why is that? I think that finally Africa is starting to get a little bit of something for our resources. And you should also have to thank the Chinese because when we was doing business with Europeans, it wasn't giving us nothing. They was ripping us off left, right, and center in every which way. But now that you've had dictators leave the continent and democracy is starting to come in, things are starting to turn around, but it's still not there yet. But things are turning around quickly. Like, I'm from Nigeria, right? Like, I grew up in Lagos. I know
Mhm.
what it used to be. It used to be real bad, but now Lagos, at least parts of it are pretty nice.
Right.
Parts of it are pretty nice. There's a lot of new developments and yeah, it's definitely a city that's on the up. And it's just a question of, and I think it's with the help of the Chinese, I believe we can build a whole lot faster.
Do we need the Chinese? Like, why do we have to involve the Chinese?
My feeling is that you need to trade with somebody. We need to trade with somebody. Yeah, there's a lot we can do for ourselves, 100%, but we still need that. We have to be pragmatic. We have to be realistic. There's still certain things that we have to learn and that we have to learn. There's certain technical stuff that we don't control, that we don't really have a handle on yet. But I don't think that there's anything wrong with trading with China as long as you're trying to get the best deal you can get.
Hmm. And somebody brought up in the chat room again, the electricity situation in Nigeria. Is it still pretty unstable, or
The electricity situation is still unstable,
is that in
but
Lagos too, or is that just more like the countryside?
that's everywhere. That's
Hmm.
everywhere.
Wow.
But like, but it's like they're actually building dams. They're building
Hmm.
hydro dams right now. They've almost completed like a 700 megawatt one. They built like a whole bunch of gas power plants in the Niger Delta, but they're still working out the kinks. It's going to take like another 2, 3 years for everything to come on stream and kick in. And they have this huge giant dam that they just signed a contract with China for. It's going to
Hmm.
be like a 3,000 megawatt dam, the Mambilla Dam, and that's going to take like 6 years to build. But you know, there is investment in infrastructure. It's just taking a while for it to all come online. But I think if you like any black person that is not invested in Africa, you're just setting yourself up for failure. Because now is the time to invest. Because stuff is still cheap in Africa. Stop. Like the whole world is looking to Africa. Even the Chinese are like, yo, we need Africa. We need resources. Everybody's looking to Africa. So this is, and we now have a new generation of Africans that's like taking over and saying, okay, we deserve better. Like the people on the streets are starting to take over. You saw what happened in Egypt, what happened in Burkina Faso,
Right.
what happened in Tunisia, where the people on the streets are saying, "Oh, we're not going to let you just, we're not going to let Negropeans run our country into the ground. We're going to take over. We're not going to let you all Negropeans run the country into the ground because Mubarak was a Negropean. What was the name of that guy in Burkina Faso?
Blige, that killed Thomas Lecar. Blaze. Let me look it up real quick.
Or he was a Negropean. So these are the kind of people that were running the country into the ground.
Blaise Compaore.
Yeah, yeah. And we have a new generation that's saying, you know what? We're not going to let you run the country into the ground. We want development, and you better give it to us. And you have social media now. People are using social media to connect with each other. And there's a lot of energy on the continent. There's a lot of people doing things. A lot of young Africans going back home. And this is the time to invest because if you come back 10 years from now, it's going to be super expensive.
Say that again.
If you come to invest 10 years from now, it's going to be super expensive to invest.
Mm-hmm.
So now, they're putting things in place in Africa. Dangote is building a refinery. If he builds that, when he
Everywhere.
completes, yeah, when he completes that refinery, you know what that's going to do? It's going to cut down on the money we spend. All those dollars we spend to import oil,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to free that up because now we're not importing oil anymore. We're not importing gasoline anymore because we're producing more than enough. And we're producing enough for West Africa, really. That that hydro that refinery is building to supply a large portion of West Africa's needs. So it means there's more money staying indoors. And this is what Africa, both at home and in diaspora, should be focused on. They should be focused on developing the resources of Africa so that we can save foreign exchange. There's so much land not being used properly, so much resources that we could develop. So African Americans have a lot of skills that they can take back. And a lot of Africans living in the West have skills that they can take back too. And that should be where we're going, and not looking to Europe, trying to die in the Mediterranean, and we're trying to kill ourselves, going to a society that doesn't even want you. That's the fact. Europeans don't want you in their country. They're just going to use you and abuse you. And then when they're done using and abusing you, they're going to dump you.
Right. Okay, let me ask you this, and then shout out to Philly Chew 2215, and thank you for the super chat. I'm gonna ask your question here in a second. Let me ask the brother Top 10 Africa this. Okay, you from the outside looking in, you came from Nigeria, you moved to America. You're in America, correct?
Yeah.
Where are you? Which city, state?
I'm in Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia.
Norfolk, Virginia. Okay. What do you think the future, just from what you foresee, what do you think the future of Black Americans here in America? What's our future? What do you foresee if you could be a Negro Damis?
I feel like the Black American population over in America, I feel like many of them, I feel like when I came to America, it was the first time I realized what systemic white supremacy was. I never heard of that term. Like, I thought racism was more of a personal thing.
Right.
But I realized that there was more institutional racism, systemic racism, and I realized that African Americans have been exploited by that system of racism. I think that there are African Americans now unfortunately, many of them have been brainwashed to believe that the world out there is a scary, bad place, and they should never go out there, that they're better off in America dealing with mass incarceration and the drugs that are allowed to flood into the system, and then the war on drugs and all these negative things that have been designed to at least destroy the black community, to cripple the black community. And I think that the good thing is that with YouTube and social media, people are starting to look out there and they're saying, hey, the world is not such a bad place. And hey, I can actually go to this country and they actually have resources everywhere. It's not a desert wasteland. They
Mhm.
actually have wealth. They actually have opportunities. So social media is going to be the biggest tool for black liberation because that's how we're going to communicate. That's how we're going to share ideas. That's how we're going to be able to do business together across the vast African and African diaspora landscape. And we just need to promote that. It's just that it's going to take a while because a lot of black people have just been totally brainwashed.
Mm.
Some
Philly, oh, go ahead and finish.
of what I see the future for African Americans,
Hmm.
I feel like some of them are going to embrace the world outside of America and explore opportunities. And I think that some of them are just going to stay on the plantation and be victims of systemic white supremacy.
What? Shout out to Philly Chew 215. He wants to know what are some of the things we should invest in Africa as Black Americans.
You could definitely invest in agriculture. There's like so much agricultural potential. And if you don't want to do the farming, you can definitely invest in agro processing, where you go in and you take the agricultural commodities and you process it into something. Like, let me tell you right now, Africa is like the major producer of a lot of cash crops. A lot of cash crops, a lot of resources come out of Africa. Don't list like 80% of the world's cocoa is produced in Africa. 80%. I was just watching a documentary the other day. They said the largest producer of of vanilla, vanilla, right? It's
Hmm.
Madagascar. And
Wow.
those guys are being ripped off by the Chinese. So African Americans with business skill set, you can definitely get into agro processing. You can get into agriculture. If you have a professional skill set, there's a lot of opportunities in construction, in oil and gas. There's a lot of opportunities in information technology, like the bigger countries like Nigeria, Kenya, Ethiopia. You know, you can partner with people and use your foreign. What you have as an American is that you can move around the world a lot easier. You can move into America. You can buy computer equipment. You can ship, you can do stuff like that. You can bring technology from America and bring it to Africa to sell. You can do a lot of things like that. I know people, Nigerians, they come here, they fill up a container with all kinds of household items, and then they ship it back to Lagos, and they have stores where they sell that stuff. And just because it comes from America, people are ready to pay an extra premium. I
Mhm.
mean, there's so many ways you can play the game, like in terms of opportunity. So when people talk about Africa as poor and Africa as this, and you should ask them, okay, why are your oil companies in Africa? Why are your gold companies in Africa? Most of the world's gold comes from Africa, at least 50%. The diamonds come from Africa. You know, the copper, there's so many things. It's just that many of us are not really technical in that sense, but there's still a lot that you can do. Just import, export. Import, export. You can do retail, you can do agro processing, information technology, If you're any type of professional, you can sell your professional skills in Africa, at least in the bigger markets like South Africa, Nigeria, Kenya, Ethiopia, Ghana, and such and such.
Now back to the China topic. Do you think the Chinese are partnering with Africa or exploiting Africa?
I mean, for me, I feel like in many ways they're partnering with Africa. While at the same time, you got people that go in there and they're trying to rip us off. And ideally, I feel like you're better off doing business with another African. But it's not, there's just certain industries where we don't have the expertise. Like, I know China is building a railway in Ethiopia. They've built a light rail in Ethiopia. They've built a light rail in Nigeria. They just commissioned the light rail in the capital city, Nigeria, that was built by the Chinese. So I think whatever you want to say about the Chinese, they're better than the Europeans. They're better than Europeans. And let's be pragmatic. Let's be practical. Africa needs a development partner. We need the Chinese at this point because Europeans ain't doing nothing for us. Europeans never did nothing for us, where they didn't overcharge us or rip us off in one way or the other.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what else we got here in the chat room. Let's see what else we got here. You want to say hello, Manson? Huh?
No.
Okay. Everyone, Manson says hello, everybody.
No.
Hey, how you
No.
No. Okay, he just woke up from a nap, so he's a little cranky. All right, so let's see here. Manson? I'll get you some. Hold on, give me a second. All right, my bad, you guys. Let's get back to it. Let's see what we got here over here. All right, somebody says the Chinese will. Let me ask you: are we focusing too much on the Chinese, and should we just be focusing on what we should do, what we should be doing as Black Americans?
Yeah, there's a lot. I actually have there's a lot that we should be doing more of together because if you look at the volume of trade between African countries, it's still very low. It's still very low. It's like 8% of the trade African countries have, whereas in Europe it's like 50%, 60%. And there's a lot we need to do. But like I said, we need people to step up. We need to use social media to make those connections because Africa is a very big place, very big, and a lot of people just don't know what's out there. And one of the ideas I had was, building a website that's like a business directory for Africa. And it's something that I'm trying to work on where African businesses can kind of list and kind of find a way to like get African businesses more visibility. If there's like just one website where everybody can go to and say, okay, this is what I can get, like an Alibaba for Africa. I think that's a great idea and it's something I'm trying to work on right now.
Let's see what else we got here in the chat room. So, but top 10 Africa, can we truly move forward without first dealing with these Negropeans?
Well, the answer is no. When you look at the Haitian Revolution, when the Haitians decided they wanted freedom, the first thing they did was to say, we got to get rid of all the coons and all the house Negroes. We got to get rid of them first because they're going to sell us out. And we're seeing cases where, like in my view, Negropeans are like a cancer. They're like a cancer, right? Because first of all, they're very divisive, right? And they're basically leading us down the wrong path. So the question is, if a man, Diners, answer this question. If I stab you in the back the first time, I stab you in the back the third time, I stab you in the back the fourth time, fifth time, and I stab you in the back for 200 times, would you ever trust me? Would you ever trust me? No, yeah. I think your mic is off.
No, I would never trust you.
Exactly. So if we've been dealing with Europeans for 500 years, and in every way they try to rip us off, they try to destroy our communities, like why would you ever trust them? But what the Negropeans want is for us to trust the European and to align ourselves with Europeans. We don't owe Europeans anything. We don't owe Europeans anything because, one, they've been ripping us off for 500 years. So we shouldn't expect us to trust them. So the Negropeans are trying to lead us down a wrong path, and we cannot allow that. We need to get rid of them. We cannot allow them to be in positions of power. Negropeans cannot be in positions of power. We must sniff them out and get rid of them.
This question. Let me ask you this question. Top 10. Hey, it was just in the chat room. I was just in the chat room. It dropped from my mind. Oh man, hold on one second. It had to do with the Negropeans. It was a good question. Here we go. Here we go. Number one wants to know. Actually, had to do with Nigeria. Actually, it's a good question. Number one, do you know why Nigeria withdrew from the African trade deal?
Well, according to the president was like, "Well, I haven't read the deal, so I don't know." He said he didn't want to sign something that he had not read. And so because he didn't want to sign something that he had not read, he withdrew from the deal. And I think that he's still going to have to, but he said he was going to sign it eventually. And I hope that it does because economic integration is a must for Africa. We have no other option but to integrate.
All right, my bad. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. Had to get something for my son.
Yeah, that's cool.
Here we go. This is a good question too. Now, obviously, with this, shout out to Information Man Show. Obviously, with all the, I guess, the projects that Africa and the Chinese are partnering on, Africa is in debt to the Chinese. How many of the countries on the continent are financially stable enough to pay back these loans related to the infrastructure being built by China?
That's a good question. That's a good question too. But like I said, when you talk about Africa, you're talking about the richest continent in the world. Let's be clear on that. Like the resources that, let's say, a country like the Congo, the mineral resources in the ground in the Congo alone is what $20 trillion. $20 trillion, not billion, trillion. Same thing with a country like Nigeria or South Africa. And so it's like I said, I don't. We have to approach the Chinese cautiously, but let's be pragmatic about it. You know, we need China. They have expertise that we don't have. But at the same time, doesn't mean that we should sign up for some BS deal that leaves us impoverished for like the next 100 years, and we should try to do as much for each other as we can. But so the answer to that question is a lot of the African countries actually have the resources to eventually pay off their bills. It's just a question of a lot of the loans are backed by resources. You understand? Like
Right.
a lot of the projects are backed by resources. Like in Ghana, they just built a dam, and Ghana had to supply them with cocoa to pay that off. They built a dam, but Ghana had to set aside a certain amount of cocoa with which they used to pay off that loan. And so a lot of the deals are structured like that. In the Congo, they had a massive $8 billion deal where the Congo gave up like some copper mines, sold off some copper mines to the Chinese. In exchange, the Chinese were going to build hospitals, universities, a road network, and a whole bunch of stuff. So a lot of the deals are being backed by resources.
Another question is Information Man Show wanted to know. Ask your guest brother. Africa has so much resources, but how much of that does Africa really control?
I mean, when it comes to agricultural resources, yeah, basically Europeans have taken over the south of Africa. Like when you go to Namibia, South Africa, Zambia, Zimbabwe, a lot of the land there is basically owned by white people. A lot of the mineral resources there is owned by white people. So in Southern Africa, white people own much of the land. They own much of the resources. In West Africa, black people own most of that. In East Africa, with the exception of Kenya, white people own a lot of land and resources there as well. Central Africa is more black owned, but with heavy European involvement. And so a good chunk of Africa is still owned by the Africans, but a good chunk of it has been lost to Europeans.
Mm. And then Candice wants to know which debt is, well, let me see. Candice wanted to know which debt is worse, being indebted to China or to the IMF and the World Bank?
You know, I think that the IMF and the World Bank is worse. And I'll give you some insight into this. Like with China, you can see tangible infrastructure projects. You know, these are tangible infrastructure projects that have tangible benefits. With the IMF and World Bank, you don't really see a tangible project. You know, they have some, it's kind of like, I remember there was a kind of like a scandal where it wasn't an IMF loan, it was an American loan, and it was given to the Nigerian government. And it was a loan where we took out this loan from America and we used to buy water pumps that we really didn't need, that were not really what. And these are the kind of things that the IMF and the World Bank do. It's like they don't invest in things that will provide an immediate benefit to the people, like, say, building a power plant or building a road. They invest more in soft projects, like, okay, we're going to buy some malaria nets, or we're going to buy some malaria nets, or we're going to buy some books. And that's tangible too, but not as much as a road. I think that in 500 years, we built very little infrastructure with the West. But with China, in the past 20 years, we've built more roads and more railways and more power stations than ever. So that shows you all that you need to know. I think your speaker is mic'd up, is on mute.
My bad. I'm sorry. I keep putting it on mute. I apologize. Let's see here. See what other questions we got here in the chat room. But we appreciate. Oh, how do you feel about Rwanda?
Rwanda?
Yeah.
Well, Rwanda, I mean, they got a guy there that, in my mind, is a very effective president in terms of getting stuff done. But it seemed like he is becoming more of like a dictator in the sense that he's been in office for a very long time, you know, and even though he has brought a lot of positive development, I think it's time for him to start thinking of stepping aside.
Mm-hmm. So you think he should? So you think he should resign? Not resign, but step down, or like what?
Yeah, like I think he has this. They keep elongating his tenure. Like after this after this term, he should stand down. Stop going up for election. He's done enough. He's done enough. He needs to just kind of bow out peacefully and gracefully.
Hmm. All right, let's see what else. What other questions we have in the chat room? Let's see here. This will be the last question. Is Nigeria still beholden to the interest of the Crown of England?
Absolutely not. Absolutely
Okay.
not. Nigeria became a federal republic in 1963. And once we became a federal republic, we permanently cut off all ties with the British in terms of them having a say in our business. I mean, still a lot of Nigerians travel to the UK for business or work, but we are not a crown colony. We're not indebted to them in any way. We don't owe them nothing.
Mm. All right, brother. Well, man, hey, look, we we appreciate it. We appreciate you joining us. We of course, love to have you back on. Make sure you just hit me up whenever you want to come back on. One more time, let everybody know where they can find you and give everybody your link again. I have it right here. I'll post it in the chat room. Everyone who's super chatted, thank you so much for the super chats. I really appreciate it. But yeah, somebody in the chat room says Kagame has been in power since 1994. He disallows tribal ethnicity, but he's moving towards a dictatorship.
Yeah, it's like it's time for him to go too.
Hmm. And then somebody says, and I have to do my research on Kagame because I keep hearing this. He's robbing the Congo with Museveni. Now Museveni, that's the president of Uganda, right?
Yeah, with Uganda, they said like they got like the Congo is probably the richest country. I think it got
On the
some
planet.
of their armies in the Congo. So a lot of people say they're robbing the country. But
cool.
I don't have the details on that.
All right, let me go ahead and put your link again. Make sure you guys go and subscribe to Top 10 Africa's page. It's the link. I just posted the link in the chat room. Make sure you guys go over there and subscribe as well, and also put it in the description as well. What's this video post? Top 10 Africa. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the people before we close out?
Yeah. Basically, my message is Africa is the best option for Africans. One, why? Because there's more resources available to us. There's more of a professional space. There's more of a business space. We're more in control, and we don't have to deal with racism like we have to deal with racism in the West. So all these Negropeans telling us that America is the future, no, Africa is the future for Africans. We have 1 billion plus people on the continent, right? And they're going to need resources. To live a better life, they're going to need resources. And only Mother Africa can provide us with the resources that we need for 1 billion people to live well. For 1 billion Africans to live well, only Africa can provide us with the resources that we need. So going to Europe is a waste of time. Going to America to look for resources is a waste of time. Africa has all the resources. Focus on Africa. That's what I got to say.
Absolutely. And with that being said, brother, once again, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you guys go to Search for Uhuru on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Also go to Africa Personified on those same platforms. Make sure you go to searchforuhuru.com, DynastyMirror.com, Africa Personified.Africa, and Amazon.com. Please search your name, Dynasty Mirror. Please buy a book. With all that being said, family, thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, peace.
Peace.